Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. It's the start of a new week, you all, and it's the start of a good week in the Word. We're going to finish up the book of Deuteronomy, not today, but this week. We'll finish it up in the next few lessons, and I'm loving it. How about you? You good? Did you have a good weekend? Casey and I went to a marriage retreat, marriage conference down in Nashville at the end of last week. We had a great time. It was just so good. I just love, nothing else. I love sitting by my wife through stuff. You guys, if you're married, you get to sit by your spouse at church, and I never do. I never do. So just to sit by her for nearly 3 days was just the best thing. I would sit with her forever. I just love her so much. But anyway, we had that. We got to see our grandson one of those nights, and that was cool. And anyway, God's just so good. It's going to be a good week, you guys. Deuteronomy chapter 29, that's where we are today. Let's talk about this. I've done a world of weddings by now, and I always joke, hey, listen, I'm glad you got married today. At your 10-year anniversary, you should renew your vows and do it on the beach and take the preacher with you. I'm always trying to get a beach vacation out of these people. So far, nobody's taken me up on it. But so the whole idea of renewing your vows, lots of people like that idea, and I've done vow renewal ceremonies for people on their anniversary. That's always kind of beautiful. Others are like, we don't need to renew our vows. Nobody broke them. And that's great. I am so happy that people can live in faithfulness together. Chapter 29 is a covenant renewal. It's a covenant ceremony. In addition to the one at Sinai, and you think, well, why do they need another one? They had a perfectly good covenant ceremony at Sinai. Yeah, I know, but it's good. It's good. One of the covenant partners has been completely faithful, and that's God. And the other covenant partners, well, let's just say they've been kind of spotty in their obedience and their faithfulness. And so this is a vow renewal ceremony, you might say. It's a renewal of the covenant with this new generation. Now, earlier I misspoke, and earlier I mean like at the beginning of Deuteronomy when I was talking about how that whole generation had perished in the wilderness. That is true, but if you remember Numbers chapter 14:29, and it was one of you who pointed this out to me, and I thank you. Numbers chapter 14:29 specifies, and we read this, I know this, but I forgot it when I was talking. You ever done that? I forget things I know when I'm talking. Numbers chapter 14 clearly states that the ones who died in the wilderness were those 20 and up. So all of the teenagers and below, they lived. And so when Moses speaks directly to the memory of being in the wilderness, many, if not, some number of these individuals are going to be old enough, or they would have remembered these things. So when Moses talks about that, he is talking to some number that have been with him since the beginning. They were the kids, the teenagers at the Exodus. They were allowed to live. So again, thank you. If you ever hear me, and it's going to happen all the time, we're doing this together. I'm not like a sage on the stage. I'm not here trying to say that I'm perfect and know everything. My only claim is I've read it before you've read it. So when we get on 10 with Tim, I'm going to tell you what I'm reading and what I'm thinking, but I can be wrong. And I love the fact that one of you caught that. It's like, hey, Pastor Tim, but this. Let's do a lot of that, all right? If I misspeak or if you feel like I missed it, come back to me because I want to get it right, We're reading this together. I want to learn too. So anyway, Moses in this first part, verses 2-9, gives sort of this historical prologue before moving into the covenant ceremony proper. This historical prologue, which is really pretty beautiful. It starts with a rehearsal of deliverance from Egypt. It goes through the guidance through the wilderness, and then the defeat of Sihon and Og, the way they took the land, the Transjordanian aspect of part of the promised land. It's just a beautiful reminder that the covenant has a whole lot of regulations for us to obey, but before any of that is just this story of this God who took this loving initiative toward us. He chose us before we could ever, choose him. Yes, Moses is going to say, I'm setting before you a choice. Choose life or death, yes or no. But just to realize and remember, God gave us his yes long before we were born. He already chose us before we could choose him. And he's already given and sacrificed and made his move toward us. So anything we do is only already in response to the God who has already shown us his love for us. And so it's one of the reasons why this rehearsal of history is very, very important. Just remember, it's not he just, fell out of the sky and demanded obedience. Oh my goodness, he's been so faithful. He's been so faithful. Just a daily reminder, for 40 years I led you through the wilderness, yet your clothes and sandals did not wear out. That's verse 5. I love that. It's a beautiful picture. It's a beautiful reminder. It's a reminder of what didn't happen, and sometimes we don't notice what didn't happen. If our shoes do wear out, we're like, yeah, well, God, what's up with that now? I got no shoes. God don't love me, but to notice, oh my goodness, my shoes never wore out. I never needed new clothes the whole time. He just made things last. I just think that's beautiful. It's the quiet ways in which God provides for us every single day, and those are the things we're likely to miss. Those are the things we take for granted. The fact that, hey, you've been driving the same car, for all these years. And yeah, part of you says, well, I want a new car, but the point is, my goodness, God has sustained the life of that old jalopy. It just keeps on moving down the road. Be thankful for that. Thank God for that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that really was a tremendous act of provision in the wilderness, that they had no needs. Because if your shoes, snap, in the wilderness, it ain't like you're going past, a shoe carnival, And so God's provision was very, very important. But you think it's less important for me and you today? Last week I had a car breakdown on the interstate, but it broke down, like I pulled off for gas and then it wouldn't start, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna have to get a jump, and I happened to be at a gas station across the street from a tow service, and I called them and they said, we'll be right over. And I watched the guy hang up the phone, get in his truck, come over and jump my car. And I was back on the, so many ways in which, wow, yeah, I had car trouble, but look at all of the little things along the way that God just did. This is what stirs gratitude. If you take it all for granted, you can't be thankful. Nobody's ever been thankful for anything or anybody that they take for granted. So don't take any of it for granted. Stop and just give thanks, for everything he does every single day. Notice, but to this day, the Lord has not given, like there's one thing he hadn't seemed to given you yet. The Lord has not given you minds that understand, eyes that see, or ears that hear. Okay, the question becomes, a mind that understands, ears that hear, eyes that see what? What is it that we're missing? And that's there in verse 6. So you know that he is the Lord your God, It's interesting how even the heart to know him, the mind to understand him, the eyes to see him, the ears to hear him, even that is spoken of here as a gift. And truly, as I say, we can't do anything from our side to reach God. It's all got to come from him. And in that sense, even the ability to comprehend him, the faith that I give back to God, the faith I put in God is a gift first that he gives me. He gives me a gift of faith, We are nothing without him. We can't have anything without him. And throughout, prophets like Jeremiah, there is that, and he's going to give you a heart that knows him. It's always that promise, and it's just beautiful. Verses 10 to 15, the partners of the covenant is literally every member of the community. You could think of a category that isn't specifically named, but I think you get the gist. This covenant is with every single member of the community. Not just that, but members of the community beyond time and space, like those that aren't here with us now and those that are going to be with us later. So beyond time, beyond the limits of space and time, every member of the community, which means, as this, a feature of Deuteronomy, these past events always somehow are actualized in the present and in the future, so that you can always, read the story and go, oh, wow, this is that, they are me, this is speaking to me, so now even I am given these same choices, to love the Lord, my God, and receive, the faith that he gives me as a gift, and to put that faith in him and trust him, it's a call. It's a compulsion, for all of us. It's compelling to me and to you And I love that. Verses 16 to 19, as is typical in a covenant document of the ancient world, there's the stipulation, like what is being forbidden here? What would cancel this covenant? And obviously, what God is demanding here is exclusive worship. Exclusive worship. You cannot follow the nations that you're driving out or the surrounding nations. You can't follow their detestable worship of idols. If so, these curses will fall upon you. Then verse 20, 28 talk about what it looks like when the curse falls, and it's devastating. We've talked about that. Verse 29 is a very famous, it's a well-known verse from Deuteronomy, and I love it. The New Living Translation says, "The Lord our God has secrets known to no one." I love that. The Lord our God has secrets known to no one. You're never going to think your way all the way to him. You're never going to completely comprehend him. He is bigger than your mind. His ways are not your ways. His thoughts are not your thoughts. You're not going to capture him in your thoughts, in your understanding. The Lord our God has secrets known to no one. We are not accountable for them. So what you don't know, you're not accountable for. However, we and our children are accountable forever for all that he's revealed to us so that we may obey all the terms of these instructions. So I'm not responsible to obey what he hadn't told me, but I am completely responsible to everything he has told me. I love that. I love that. I don't have to know everything, but I have to obey everything, that he's told me. And I love that. So again, I think this chapter is an important moment to just remember how important it is for you and me to be renewing our commitment, our covenant with God every single day. It's not that we get saved over and over again. Jesus died one time and saved me one time, but oh my goodness, I've made a lifetime commitment to him, and a lifetime commitment has to be kept over a lifetime. And so every single day, I want to die to Christ one more time and surrender my life to him. I want to live every single day fresh and new in my promises to him, because his promises are always new. I love you guys so much. Chapter 30 for tomorrow, just one chapter at a time. Chapter 30, verses 1 to 20. None of these are long, but they're good. So dig into God's word, and I will see you in the morning, Lord willing, 10 o'clock for 10 with Tim. Did I say I love you? I feel like I did. I also feel like I need to say it again. I love you guys so much. See you in the morning. Have a